For our struggling tourism operators, how you can access the money. The Health Minister rolls up his sleeve to roll out AstraZeneca, leaning on an unlikely ally. Plus, the first doses of the jab arrive in Queensland. We're just hours away now from them being administered. A bizarre midnight arrest after a joyride in a stolen car ends in the drink. And a world first, the groundbreaking discovery that could help reduce your risk of heart attack.
This is 9 News Queensland with Jonathan Uptin.
Good evening. Millions of dollars is being handed out to Queenslanders as part of a major boost for battling tourism operators. The free travel cash to spend on holiday experiences to reboot the hardest hit areas. So if you've ever wanted to visit the far north, now could be the perfect time.
Holiday here or here. And you could be given hundreds of dollars to enjoy the getaway.
You can go into the draw for a $200 voucher.
15,000 coupons up for grabs. The free travel cash to be spent on experiences in the tropical north. Snorkelling, touring the reef, day trips to the Daintree or checking out local galleries and wellness centres.
It's not designed for the accommodation provider, it is designed for the experience to really bring people up, to get them out and do something.
The move to breathe life back into the tourism sector right now only focused on Cairns and the Great Barrier Reef, one of the hardest hit holiday hotspots in the country.
For a destination that used to turn over $3.5 billion of tourism expenditure supporting 1 in 5 jobs, we've lost more than $2.2 billion worth of visitor expenditure.
The vouchers will cover up to 50% of a booking but can be used with multiple operators.
The feeling that people have when they've got something, getting something, a little bit of it for free, makes them open the wallet up more wide.
If you're lucky enough to get one of the vouchers, you will have to use it by June 25. But if this rollout is successful, we could see similar ones introduced across the state. So how can you claim a voucher? Head to queensland.com/Cairns holiday dollars from tomorrow. Queenslanders will have 3 days to apply. Natasha Kramer, 9 News.
In just 2 weeks from now, local GPs will begin the mammoth task of vaccinating the entire Australian population against COVID-19. Thousands of clinics have been approved to participate, but some doctors believe the rollout is seriously flawed.
Federal Health Minister Greg Hunt, sleeve up, outselling the AstraZeneca vaccine. It's the one most of us will receive.
Are you happy to have the AstraZeneca vaccine today?
I would be delighted to have the AstraZeneca vaccine.
Excellent.
That was the mildest vaccination I've ever had.
There's concern more women than men are reluctant to get the jab. Former Prime Minister Julia Gillard has been enlisted to the cause.
And I say, please get the vaccine. It is safe and it's effective, and here in Australia it is free.
Head of the Vaccine Task Force, Dr Brendan Murphy, rolled up his best virus socks to try and allay vaccine fears of mothers-to-be.
We also don't know for sure, we don't have enough data to say that they're absolutely safe in pregnancy. There's no reason why they wouldn't be safe in pregnancy.
Dr Murphy believes the rollout could eventually include children.
There may be a benefit in preventing future transmission.
500,000 vaccinations a week is the goal. So far, 81,000 Australians have been vaccinated in the last 2 weeks.
Just over 2 weeks' time, as the general practice rollout and the respiratory clinic rollout and the state vaccination clinic rollout commences, those numbers will grow even more.
From March 22, the eligible group will be Australians 70 and above and those with medical conditions. Mr Hunt is relying on 4,500 GP practices around the country to do some heavy lifting. But some GPs say there won't be enough supply.
With the current allocation we've got for our practice of 100 vaccines a week, it's going to take us till end of next year to get through everyone. And it's also going to cause chaos in terms of prioritising patients.
There is some good news. Fresh studies show the Pfizer and AstraZeneca vaccines are more successful in the real world than they were in clinical trials. The Pfizer is around 90% effective, and early signs show the AstraZeneca could be even better. Mark Burrows, 9 News.
Straight to Sally Guide now, who joins us live. Sally, the rollout of the AstraZeneca vaccine here in Queensland is now just hours away.
It is, Jonathan. Starting from tomorrow morning, the AstraZeneca vaccine is being rolled out at 2 hubs across the state. One at the Logan Hospital where I am this evening and the second in Bundaberg. Frontline workers are first up. That's hotel quarantine workers and healthcare staff. They're first in line. Now, this clinic is not at this stage for the public. This is just for staff and priority groups at this point. Now, the AstraZeneca vaccine is joining the fight against COVID-19 across the state, along with the Pfizer vaccine rollout, which has already been administered to more than 8,000 people across the state. The AstraZeneca vaccine is being rolled out, as I say, from tomorrow morning. Jonathan.
Sadigat live in Logan, thank you. Labor is ramping up the pressure for Defence Minister Linda Reynolds to be sacked as scandals involving alleged sexual assaults weigh heavily on the federal government. While the calls are being resisted, the senator's sick leave has now been extended.
Labor is gunning for the Defence Minister.
Linda Reynolds' position is untenable. She should make that decision today and she should go.
The Minister has been on sick leave since February 24, succumbing to the pressure of former staffer Brittany Higgins' allegations that she was raped in the Minister's office by a senior colleague in 2019.
And the Defence Minister, who didn't tell the Prime Minister about an alleged rape that occurred on her couch in her office, and who has called the victim a lying cow.
Linda Reynolds was expected to return to work tomorrow, but today her department released a statement saying, on the advice of her cardiologist, Defence Minister Linda Reynolds will extend her medical leave until April 2. The Minister's extended absence comes at a time when Defence faces enormous challenges like the $80 billion Future Submarines program, the most complex defence project in Australia's history, the response to allegations of war crimes in Afghanistan, which might end in charges being levelled against Special Forces troops, and the biggest strategic threat since the Second World War, competition between the United States and China in the Indo-Pacific. With some in her own ranks also calling for Linda Reynolds to go, the Defence Minister needs all the allies she can get.
There's really no one else in the party that we can see who could easily replace her. So all of this constant messaging by certain people that she should be rolled is rubbish.
With the Attorney-General also on sick leave facing historical rape allegations, the Morrison government is reeling. Former Foreign Minister Julie Bishop has described the claims against Christian Porter as unspeakably sad, but she did not back an independent inquiry.
One thing I do know, and that is we have to work within our criminal justice system.
That won't end calls for the attorney to face a different kind of justice. Chris Ullman, 9 News.
Queenslanders are cramming our emergency departments for non-emergencies, seeking prescription refills, medical certificates, even treatment for acne. Queensland Health says more than a third of hospital visits could have been treated by a GP or a pharmacist, pushing out wait times for critical patients.
Hospitals crammed, ambulances jammed.
Paramedics and patients can wait 6-7 hours.
In extreme cases. Across the state, the United Workers Union says the average wait is 2 hours. Paramedics turned babysitters as they wait for inundated emergency departments to accept their patients. The union claims the Royal Brisbane, Logan, PA and Ipswich Hospital are the worst affected.
That means that our crews aren't back out on the ground looking after people in the community.
Queensland Health says its hospitals have never been busier, but the problem is exacerbated by tens of thousands of extra patients visiting emergency departments every month, which could have seen a doctor instead. Over 587,000 people turned up at emergency departments across Queensland between October and December last year, but 76,000 of those were for things like splinters, medical certificates, repeat prescriptions, sunburn, blisters, acne, even hiccups.
You can go and see your GP.
For many, though, seeing the doctor is simply too expensive. $36 the average gap payment after the Medicare rebate.
A lot of general practices can't afford just a bulk bill.
Experts believe the Medicare rebate, just under $37, should be doubled to cover increased costs.
What they currently pay GPs is just stupidly low. It's crazy.
But with a cash-strapped federal government, it's unlikely to significantly raise the Medicare rebate for GPs anytime soon, leaving ramping an ongoing problem.
We really need our emergency departments to be kept for those emergencies.
Shannon Marshall-McCormack, 9 News.
A police constable has narrowly escaped with her life after being shot at dozens of times whilst seeking shelter in a car just over the border. The town of Dunoon near Lismore turned to a crime scene around 9 o'clock last night when police responded to reports of multiple shots fired at several homes. When they arrived, the accused gunman turned his shotgun on them.
It began to escalate, and when I say that it escalates, it meant that the police went out there to protect the community. Bravely, they went out there with shots being fired. They then became subject to coming under fire themselves directly.
Tonight, the 63-year-old is locked up. He'll face court tomorrow, charged with at least 8 firearm offences. 8 people, including 5 children, have been very lucky to escape with only minor injuries after a 2-car crash at a busy Gold Coast intersection this afternoon, causing one of the vehicles to flip onto its roof. Police believe one of the cars may have run a red light. I want to take you straight now to crime reporter Sophie Upcroft with incredible vision of a very bizarre arrest. Sophie, what happened?
Well, Jonathan, this certainly wasn't an everyday call out for officers forced to kick off their boots, put on life jackets and wade out waist deep into the waters off Shorncliffe to take down their man in an aquatic arrest after he took a midnight swim of sorts. Police say the 23-year-old was driving a stolen car when he took a wrong turn, finding himself on a boat ramp before launching into the water. They believe he was intoxicated, taking drugs before getting behind the wheel. He was lucky to swim away uninjured, monitored by the police helicopter until officers arrived. As for the stolen car, though, it was left bobbing in the bay until tow trucks turned up. The accused was marched onto dry land and straight into custody, charged with half a dozen offences. Jonathan, he will now have to explain himself to a magistrate next month.
Sophie, thank you. A fisherman's body has been recovered after he fell overboard in central Queensland. A major search operation started around 11 o'clock last night. Water Police, the Uptin Coast Guard and a rescue helicopter spending several hours looking for the 40-year-old before the grim discovery. Tonight, police are investigating. Joe Biden is celebrating his first major victory as president, with the Democrat-controlled Senate passing legislation to help pull the nation out of economic crisis. Not a single Republican voted for the enormous spending bill worth $2.4 trillion, nearly 1/10 the size of the entire US economy.
A maiden victory lap 6 weeks into the job.
This nation has suffered too much for much too long.
The Senate's scraping through Joe Biden's promised COVID relief.
It wasn't always pretty, but it was so desperately needed.
A marathon, more than 24-hour debate over amendments exposing rifts among Democrats. The final vote 50 to 49.
The bill as amended is passed.
Paving the way for $1,400 stimulus checks, that's more than 1,800 Australian dollars, extending unemployment benefits and billions to help states reopen schools and universities.
There's also tens of billions of dollars to boost COVID testing and vaccine distribution, as President Biden looks certain to fulfil his other key promise, delivering 100 million shots by the end of April. The US right now closing in on the 90 million mark, administering more than 2 million jabs every day.
And we tell the American people, help is on the way.
Every Senate Republican opposed the bill.
The most progressive domestic legislation in a generation on a razor-thin majority.
A win for the president, a fail for his pledge for unity and bipartisanship for the next 4 years.
I still haven't given up on getting their support.
In the United States, Amelia Adams, 9 News.
The brother and sister of American man George Floyd have spoken of their grief days before the trial begins in Minneapolis for the police officer charged over his death.
My brother, he was valuable. He was an asset to this family.
Yes, he was.
But for this world, he's changing it. He's a global asset now.
Jury selection starts on Tuesday. Myanmar authorities have asked India to send back 8 police officers who fled to the neighbouring country to avoid taking military orders. It's been requested in order to uphold relations between the two nations. Fierce clashes with protesters have turned increasingly violent, with dozens killed since the military coup. India's government says it's still examining the facts. Two of the world's most important religious leaders have met in Iraq to build peace and unity between the Catholic and Islamic faiths. Pope Francis and Grand Ayatollah Ali al-Sistani, who leads most of the world's Shia Muslims, talked for almost an hour during the first ever papal visit to the country. The pontiff urged Muslims to embrace Iraq's Christian minority. There's been sequins, feathers, dance and delight as the 43rd Gay and Lesbian Mardi Gras dazzled with a very different but equally enthusiastic event. More than 36,000 ticket holders packed the Sydney Cricket Ground to keep it a COVID-safe party, with British singer Rita Ora keeping the crowd on its feet.
It's pretty amazing to be here tonight, to have this opportunity while the rest of the world is, closed down, locked down.
It's different and it's works, so it's good.
Police have praised the partygoers. Only 4 people were arrested and fined after sneaking onto the pitch during the parade. Like a bomb site, a fiery crash leaves an outback highway in ruins. New calls to stop abuse in its tracks, the push to criminalise controlling behaviour right around the country. A life-saving delivery for one of our closest neighbours, helping them fight COVID-19. And at the end of sport, we sit down with an incredible man who has more than one extraordinary story to tell over a life well lived.
Queensland's Con Air.
This is a plane full of violent Australian criminals. Fresh out of prison, they are the worst of the worst.
Only 9 News is on board this secret one-way flight, booting Kiwi criminals back to New Zealand.
How does it feel to be kicked out of Australia?
9 News, Monday.
We have really good sex.
In the first commitment ceremony,
This is actually the best moment of my life.
big trouble is brewing.
This is pretty hard to hear.
Oh, I'm sorry it's hard for you to hear. Wow.
It's a load of absolute.
TV's biggest Sunday
I don't find it hard talking to any of the other wives.
will unleash the most explosive
She goes, you just suck the life out of me.
television this year.
You say the most ridiculous one-liners.
Sam, from our point of view, you sound like a...
The unmissable first commitment ceremony, next on 9.
It's a big deal when there's smiles all around. Get grinning with women's and kids' mini-me pyjamas starting from $18. Big W, every day's a big day.
The Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra 5G with our 7-day price match, now with Bonus Buds Pro, worth $349 when added to an eligible plan. Gift exclusive to Telstra.
Shut up and take my money.
It's a big deal when your kids share the Easter spoils. Like Cadbury bunnies, just $4.75 each. Big W, every day's a big day.
Make every drive an experience with the Nissan X-Trail, featuring Apple CarPlay. And when you finance with Nissan Future Value, get up to 3 years free service. Nissan, experience X-Trail.
Australia, your country needs you. To take a holiday, it's time to see incredible stuff.
Wow.
Wow. Amazing, right? Okay.
You sure you know what you're doing?
Honey, I've got the hat. Do stuff you've never done before. Like order one of these.
You order those all the time.
What? Because the holiday here this year is just what Australia needs. Oh, stop. I'm doing the line.
These holidays, we've got everything to help you make the most of every moment. Big W, every day's a big day.
The disappearance of Janine Vaughan.
This is the last time we see her alive.
The new team of experts scrutinise every detail.
You see a little light above the time.
And uncover new evidence. Under investigation, Monday at 9 on 9.
The Stuart Highway in remote South Australia has been ripped apart by the intense heat from a horror crash which killed 2 people. A 23-year-old man driving a ute and a 57-year-old woman in the passenger seat of a B-double died when the vehicles collided at Wirramina. The 49-year-old truck driver is in a critical condition. A section of the highway will remain closed for several days. Just over a year after Hannah Clark and her children were killed in one of our country's most horrific domestic violence murders, our state government is working towards criminalising coercive control. And now, on the eve of International Women's Day, 3 women in our federal parliament are pushing for a nationally consistent approach to stop the abusive behaviour.
Even in the corridors of power, there are some who feel powerless. And while the problem goes well beyond these walls, there's a push for change to begin here.
We need deterrence put in, and the only way we can do that is scaring the bejesus out of people that actually carry this behaviour out.
3 women in Parliament are calling for nationally consistent laws to criminalise coercive control.
It usually involves the perpetrator putting the woman down, making her feel worthless, restricting her movements, telling her what she can wear.
And each has a story of her own. Labor MPs Anne Alley and Linda Burney say they were in relationships where coercive control came with violence.
For me, it looked a lot like, there was spreadsheets for everything. It was, you had to have, the pantry had to be a certain way. And if something was amiss in the pantry, there was hell to pay.
It looked like apologies, remorse, it won't happen again.
While Independent Senator Jackie Lambie says she experienced coercion in the military.
I did see it as abuse.
Adding that former Liberal staffer Brittany Higgins claims she was raped by a senior colleague show coercive control is more than a domestic violence issue.
It is abuse of power in position. And it is absolutely shocking. So it's not just happening in the home; it's actually happening in the workplace. It's just a different sort of coercive power.
Tasmania is the only state or territory to have criminalised elements of coercive control. And while others are looking at doing the same, there's a push for it to be included in a national definition of family violence, so that everyone is working from the same page. The federal government says it's primarily up to the states and territories whether to legislate, but we welcome the significant work being undertaken by jurisdictions to investigate options for reform. Fiona Willan, 9 News.
12,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine have arrived in Fiji, the first Pacific Island nation to get the vaccines through the COVAX facility. The batch is some of more than 100,000 doses the country will receive over the coming months. Spanning 3 continents and more than a decade of research, tonight the world-first discovery exposing the gender divide in heart attacks, why women and men fare differently, and how scientists are reducing the risk of serious cardiac episodes. That's ahead. It was once a safe haven for soldiers. Now this town's breathtaking new beginnings, more than half a century in the making. Plus, spring breakers descend despite COVID concerns, sparking new fears across the US. Hundreds of people burning masks. What sparked the outrage? And see the driver who tried for first place on the wrong track.
On a major 60 Minutes, the explosive downfall of Melissa Caddick.
Absolutely blowing me away.
Her family speak.
He believed everything she told him.
The final hours alive.
She was set up.
And the secrets she left behind.
She's capable of anything. She could still be alive.
Plus...
Hi guys, I'm just with Sarah.
The new sex phenomenon.
Leaves little to the imagination.
Sarah Arbo meets the Aussie who made $1 million in her first month.
That's how it's done.
60 Minutes on 9.
Memes. Dodo's basically put the internet on sale. Until March 15, get $10 off all our NBN plans for your first 6 months. Streaming, downloads, video calls, all these cat videos must go. Call 13-DODO to switch. Time to go Dodo.
Mondella makes it easier to create the bathroom you've always wanted. From planning your design to choosing your style, even hints and tips on how to bring your dream bathroom to life. Imagine, choose and transform your bathroom with Mondella.
As we were heavily reliant on our online store to get us through, and we knew people wanted to shop with us. We knew they wanted to support us, and we just needed to connect with them. I remembered seeing an email about Grow with Google. So in this email was an invitation to training to help me grow my business. So we realised that there was this whole new way of doing business where we could primarily run online, and I decided to take that big leap of faith, and it's changed our lives.
This week on Today, we have some huge guests, including Shane Warne, the absolute legend, plus the nicest guy in Hollywood, Alan Alda, is here.
And we're busting your bills.
Today Show, pay my bills.
Each day, we have a massive 10 grand to give away.
Hey! I guess that means...
That's right, Carl. I'm back. See you tomorrow.
A man has been airlifted to hospital after his four-wheel drive rolled in the Northern Territory outback. The alarm was raised when the 30-year-old failed to return to a property. He was eventually found after walking for hours in over 40-degree heat to find help. He was flown to Mount Isa Hospital in a stable condition. Spring break is still on for thousands of young revellers gathering in Florida despite pleas from officials to stay away. Several cities have made attempts to impose further restrictions, fearing they'll spark another wave of outbreaks. With the UK strain prevalent in Florida, there are additional concerns. Students will carry that infectious strain back to their universities. Hundreds of people have protested against face masks, burning them outside the Idaho state capitol. Children were among those throwing the face coverings into the flames, while others held signs angry at the restrictions on their freedom. A local politician recently introduced legislation to prohibit mandates on things like masks. A Greek island village once used as a refuge for Anzac soldiers has now completed another chapter in its captivating story. More than half a century after the town was decimated by deadly earthquakes, it's been restored to its best, and treasured pieces of wartime history live on.
Built high on the Greek island of Alonissos, this old village was the perfect place to keep watch for enemies. In the early days, locals were on the lookout for pirates. During World War II, hundreds of Anzac soldiers were brought here to hide from the Germans. But years later, there was a threat that the town could not avoid. On the night of March 3, 1965, residents were rocked by not one, but 70 violent earthquakes.
So it was moving all the time. Every 2-3 minutes, 5 minutes, we had another.
Athanasiou Georgios was 19 years old when he was awoken by the noise inside this very bedroom. The wall began separating from the ceiling, he says. There was fear and terror that the house would collapse. His home was spared, but many were left in ruins. 2 people were killed and most of the survivors would move into tents. They were given money to rebuild, but most chose to do so on safer ground near the island's port.
The old village was all but deserted for several years after the earthquake, but then foreigners saw an opportunity. People from across Europe started coming in and buying the houses at rock-bottom prices. Before long, this village was coming back to life.
Danish national Bente Keller was among those involved in the transformation.
I wanted to paint for 3 months, but I never left.
Turning an old house into a gift shop, she helped revive what had been a ghost town.
Of course, it's a tourist village in a way, but it's alive and very charming.
Earthquakes are still quite common on this island. The most recent tremor was felt in just the last few months. Locals know that the next big one could be right around the corner, but say that living in a place like this is worth the risk.
They say it will come one day again. But here is my place.
In Alonissos, Greece, Ben Avery, 9 News.
Horsepower of a different kind has crashed a harness racing meeting in Western Australia. The wayward hatchback ploughed through a fence at Gloucester Park before doing a lap and stopping at the finish line. A woman behind the wheel was escorted from the track by police, allowing races to resume 20 minutes later. On the beaches and through the city, we take you to celebrations right across Queensland ahead of International Women's Day. A world-first breakthrough, the game-changing discovery for heart attack survival, plus keeping Queensland clean, the community effort to preserve our environment.
None of your business.
Meet the Airbnb squatter. Robbins installed a flagpole and hired this security guard to keep the owner out. Plus, Martin King on the prowl with the Tassie Tiger Hunter.
The thylacine is not extinct.
A current affair Monday.
Ladies and gents, at Ladbrokes our aim is to make racing even more exciting.
introducing our new Chief Entertainment Officer,
Mike Iceberg.
I am here to show you all how to Ladbroke it.
You get one chance.
To Ladbroke it.
Ladbroke it.
Yeah! Right in the mountain yard! Let's Ladbroke the action!
That's not safe.
Let's Ladbroke the riders.
Ladbroke the winners!
The sports bar. But let's not stop there.
Let's Ladbroke the world!
Car sales. Everything you ought to know.
There's a change gonna come. I don't know where or when, but whenever it does, we'll be here for it.
When your life changes, your insurance should too.
We'll be here for it.
Yui, you insured.
Some popular cereals contain over 25% sugar. That's more than a quarter of the cereal. Luckily, Weet-Bix is low in sugar, it's full of whole grain goodness, and extra yum with a twist. Just add fruit, nuts, and seeds. For a better brekkie, it's gotta be Weet-Bix.
Australia, your country needs you. To take a holiday, it's time to see incredible stuff. Wow. Amazing, right? Okay.
You sure you know what you're doing?
Honey, I've got the hat. Do stuff you've never done before. Like order one of these.
You order those all the time.
What? Because the holiday here this year is just what Australia needs. Oh, stop. I'm doing the line.
Treat yourself at McCafe and we could treat you to free coffee for a year. Just buy any coffee on the My Macca's app and you could be one of 25 winners every day. Order on the My Macca's app for your chance to win.
Dreaming of a better night's sleep? Freedom's mattress sale is on now. Get up to 50% off all mattresses and sleep easy with 50 months interest-free store-wide. It's happening now, only at Freedom.
The epic final chapter of the Matrix trilogy.
It ends tonight.
The Matrix Revolutions, tonight on 9Go.
When it comes to picturesque, Queensland does it best, from the reef to the rainforests, cities to the shores. Today, hundreds came together to clean it up, to make sure we maintain what makes our state so special.
Celebrating Australia. Now it's time to clean it up.
We saw record crowds over on Wavebreak Island for Australia Day. So many boaties are out there, so we thought there's got to be a lot of rubbish.
Life jackets on, paddles in hand.
We're going to go to Wavebreak Island with kayaks.
So we normally get about 20-25 kilos of rubbish just along this stretch of beach here in bigger waters than Labrador.
It's just one of more than 900 Clean Up Australia Day events across Queensland today. An unexpected find at Moran Flats. Police called in, weapons uncovered amongst the rubbish, while the meerkats at Rockhampton Zoo did some recycling of their own.
There'll be a lot of rubbish collected today, but it's not about one day of the year. It's about sending a message that the environment matters every day.
A message heard loud and clear at Kangaroo Point. These kids leading the charge.
The adults in charge aren't doing anything, so we have to.
Plastic last year making up a third of all rubbish collected. One of the biggest offenders, single-use plastic bottles.
Bottled water will set you back about $3 a litre. Switching to a reusable bottle with the same amount of tap water will cost just 1 cent.
It makes sense for the environment and also for our hip pocket.
So we need to pick up rubbish, make a effect now before rubbish affects the whole world.
Megan Gillespie, 9 News.
From 0 to 100% in the span of 40 years. For the first time, Gold Coast beaches have been patrolled by all female lifesavers from Tallabudra to Rainbow Bay to mark International Women's Day tomorrow. The Surf Woman of the Year entrant, Claudia Fien, organising the initiative to celebrate and acknowledge the growing number of women in the life-saving community. And in Brisbane, the city turned a sea of pink as thousands took part in the International Women's Day Fun Run, with 50 Australian women diagnosed with breast cancer every day. The $1.4 million raised will go towards all-important research into treating the deadly disease. A Broncos premiership winner weighs in on Brisbane's halfback debate. That 9 News exclusive next. Plus, why a Queensland golfer is teaming up with one of Australia's greatest cricketers. At the end of sport, a life well lived. Meet the man with an incredible story of survival.
And it turned out to be quite a nice Sunday afternoon. Some early morning cloud, a couple of brief showers, but there is some rain in your 7-day outlook. All the details coming up in your full weather forecast.
Queensland's Con Air.
This is a plane full of violent Australian criminals. Fresh out of prison, they are the worst of the worst.
Only 9 News is on board this secret one-way flight, booting Kiwi criminals back to New Zealand.
How does it feel to be kicked out of Australia?
9 News, Monday.
The biggest season of all time. With blockbuster after blockbuster, all on 9. So let's get this thing on. It all kicks off Thursday. Oh, yeah! With a Storm Rabbitohs cracker. Here come the Rabbits! Thursday on 9.
Car sales, everything you ought to know.
Come on, Dan. That's Up and Go, no added sugar. It's next level goodness. Well, now we're talking, Dan. Now we're talking. Up and Go, no added sugar.
At Harvey Norman, get a PC with Windows 10 for a more powerful you. This HP 14-inch laptop is great for students. Only $438, save over $100. Get this HP Pavilion laptop with the latest 11th Gen Intel processor. $1,088, save over $500. For top speed and performance, this Acer Swift 3X powered by an 11th Gen Intel Core i7 processor. $1,298, save $300. Plus 60 months interest free with bonus gift cards. Now at Harvey Norman.
It lives at first light, wherever we push ourselves. When we pull together, it lives over the door, at the end of every paintbrush, after the sun has set. It lives in going for a 6, where a 4 would have done it. It lives in every square inch of this place. And because we live here, Can lives here.
Being back at school can be very different for the 1 in 6 Australian children living in poverty. Please sponsor an Australian child and give them the extra learning support to catch up, keep up and flourish. Search the Smith family.
Check out Catch, where everyday Aussies are getting anything and everything, like Camilla's pasta bowls, Healthy Choice digital air fryer for $99, and a Ring Fit Adventure for Nintendo Switch for a low $88. For the brands they love, everyday Aussies, check out Catch.
At Macca's, we believe supporting child literacy is bigger than all of us. It's why we've supplied over 28 million children's books in Happy Meals. And for us, this is just the beginning.
We've made changes for the busier than busy.
Oh, it's the Telstra team. They've upgraded our plan. Oh, cool.
Dedicated account management support, now with messaging for every business.
Hot Seat is back with a bang.
You won $250,000.
New Millionaire Hot Seat. Weekdays at 5 on 9. This sports report brought to you by Sportsbet's Elite Average Games. Download the app today and make it look easy with Sportsbet.
The Broncos' youngest ever debutant is backing playmaking prodigy Tom Dearden to reclaim Brisbane's halfback jersey. It comes after Carmichael Hunt wound back the clock, teaming up with Dearden in a last-ditch attempt to impress the Broncos coaching staff. Tom Dearden was only 3 years old when Carmichael Hunt made his NRL debut, but the teenage half looked wise beyond his years, playing alongside the former Bronco in a trial match for South's Logan Magpies.
Bright kid, loves the game of footy, came back with the right attitude, obviously understands that he just wants to get some footy in his hands and steer the team around. I thought he did pretty well tonight. With
Kevin Walters watching on and weighing up whether to pick Brodie Croft or Dearden at halfback in the Broncos season opener on Friday night, Dearden did his selection chances no harm by helping the Magpies build a big lead over Redcliffe in a match where he had a target on his head.
I thought he done well. He done well to stick to his game plan and he backed himself. His defence was strong too. So, I think he should be confident with that.
Corey Oates pushed his case for a place in the Broncos side for round one, with the winger turned forward, punching out 66 straight minutes playing in the back row.
I feel like I did a pretty good job tonight with my defence. We'll just wait and see what he says on Monday.
After stints in the NRL, AFL and rugby union, Hunt is back to where it all began, extending his career with a commitment to play the Intrust Super Cup season with South Logan this year.
Yeah, it was good. Last time I played on this ground, I think I was 17 years old, so to be able to come back and play for the Magpies in the Q Cup against Redcliffe, Hodjo, one of my good mates, is on the assistant side coaching them, and obviously got some of the Warriors boys coming back and trying to get some fitness before the season starts, so it was good fun, mate. Yeah.
The Reds will face the Brumbies in a top-of-the-table clash next Saturday in Canberra. The defending champions maintaining their unbeaten record with a nail-biting win over the Rebels. With scores locked at 24 all on full time, the Brumbies received a penalty. Reserve scrum half Ryan Lonergan stepping up to slot this long-range match winner after the siren. New Zealand has crushed Australia by 7 wickets to claim the T20 series in Wellington. Aaron Finch's men struggling with the bat, managing a modest total of 142. The hosts more than up to the task. Martin Guptill belting 71 off just 46 balls.
Oh, he's got up and underneath it. That is a big, big hit. He's onto the roof.
The Kiwis chasing down the target in the 16th over. Australia could have used Cameron Green in their batting order, the all-rounder doubling down on his day one century at the Gabba, reaching 251 before finally getting out in the Warriors' first innings against Queensland. In reply, the Bulls are 1 for 183. In Tasmania, Grace Harris tamed the Tigers, bringing up her century with 3 straight sixes, finishing unbeaten on 109 and helping the Fire to an 8-wicket win. After conquering cricket, former Test captain Ricky Ponting will play a crucial role at this week's Queensland Golf Open, but he won't be on the fairways. Instead, Ponting has become a driving force behind one of our state's most promising young players.
Trying to get to the top in the golfing game is often a lengthy and lonely pursuit, but for Queensland youngster Jed Morgan, assistance from one of our country's most successful sports stars is only ever a phone call away.
What I want out of this, Jed, is, mate, I want to create a really good relationship where we're talking a lot, where we have a chance to be able to share experiences.
After winning last year's Australian Amateur Championship, Jed has earned a scholarship from the Australian Sports Hall of Fame, which includes a 12-month mentoring program with former Test cricket captain Ricky Ponting.
There's a lot of fire. He doesn't like losing, so that's where I'll benefit the most, I think.
Looking back, I wish I could have had someone that had been through what I'd been through, helping me through the first part of my cricket journey, because I think it would have made life that little bit smoother, a little bit easier for me.
The 21-year-old has another heavy hitter in his corner, training with the QAS squad under Grant Field, who coaches PGA Tour winner Cameron Smith.
Obviously, things need to fall their way a little bit over the next few years, but he's got more than enough skill to play on the biggest tours in the world, that's for sure.
When the Queensland Open tees off here at Pelican Waters on Thursday, Jed will be chasing a slice of golfing history, aiming to win the event as an amateur, a feat only accomplished once in the past 30 years.
I intend to. I can't want to. I'm just trying to find a bit of form again, so be a good place to do it.
After the Queensland Open, he'll fly to Melbourne to spend a week with Ponting, who's a scratch golfer himself.
I actually entered into this thinking that Jeb was going to mentor me.
Are you worried he might beat you?
Nah. I bloody hope not, because it'll be a story, I'm sure.
Adam Jackson, 9 News.
It's taken a world record to deny another Queensland golfer victory at the Players Series event in Sydney. Sunshine Coast pro Charlie Dan led the tournament before Andrew Martin reeled off an astonishing 4 eagles during the final round to steal the title with a one-shot victory. The feat equals the world record for the most eagles in a round at a professional golf event. Bryson DeChambeau also has officials searching through the record books on the PGA Tour after blasting an incredible drive of 338 metres over a lake at the Arnold Palmer Invitational. The Diamonds are tonight heading back to Australia without the Constellation Cup for the first time in 9 years. Another second-half fade-out from the Aussies allowed the Silver Ferns back into the contest, claiming a 45-43 victory and a 3-1 series win. The Kiwis claiming the Trans-Tasman Trophy for the first time since 2012. The Raw's unbeaten start to the W-League season is over. Brisbane had gone 9 games without losing, but that streak came crashing down against Canberra United. This long-range strike, the highlight in Canberra's shock 4-1 win over the Raw. The Bullets are firing, downing Melbourne United by 8 points at John Cain Arena. The 96-88 win gives Brisbane 2 victories in 48 hours over the competition's top 2 sides. Andre Lamanis' men looking to continue their shot up the NBL ladder against Adelaide on Thursday. And speaking of being back in action on Thursday, Jono, the NRL, it's back.
Can't wait, Michael. Yes, we'll see it all live and exclusively on 9 as well. Thanks, Michael. Cheers. Well, nothing could have prepared Norm Dillon for life in a World War II internment camp where 1 in 5 soldiers held captive would eventually die. 9 News first met Norm at the last Anzac Day march he was able to attend and caught up with him again as he notched up a special milestone.
A monster cake for a big life well lived. Norm Dillon, 100 years old. No small achievement, but given how he got here, it's remarkable.
When Singapore surrendered, 22,000 Australians passed into Japanese hands.
21-year-old Norm was one of them. But instead of working on the Thai-Burma Railway, Norm ended up as slave labour in the Noetsi camp in Japan, 4 hours north of Tokyo, where he nearly froze to death.
You'd sort of get out of a door, you had to push it to push the snow aside and sort of sneak out.
This is Norm, prisoner 149, in a photo taken by the Japanese. The camp was brutal. 1 in 5 died.
Did you see with your eyes, did the Japanese beat or torture any of the Australians?
Well, yes. You didn't see it, but you could hear it.
Another photo of Norm surrounded by guards. After the war, 8 of the guards were executed for war crimes.
To occasionally get a belt behind the ears outside if they reckon you were going too slow or something like that.
We first met Norm 4 years ago. It was his last Anzac Day march.
This must mean a lot to you, though.
Oh, well, it does, doesn't it? It does, really. Brings back a few memories.
After the war, Norm worked for the Housing Commission for 40 years. Tracy is one of his daughters.
For them to have survived is amazing. For them to be so stoic and so modest and so humble about what they went through, it's incredible.
Norm's camp was featured in the film Unbroken, which was directed by Angelina Jolie. It centred on the captured US Olympic runner Louis Zamperini. He was singled out by the Japanese guards for punishment. Norm still remembers him.
He had a pretty rough time, but he survived.
Norm was beaten, burned and starved, and he worked till he dropped.
Did you feel a lot of hatred and bitterness towards the Japanese?
No, not really. I never sort of got over it. I wouldn't always say they were my great friends. But you could, like any place, you can meet good Japanese.
So that's a time lapse of Norm Dillon's 100 years.
My father represents a generation that we simply don't have anymore. What an achievement. And I think that's Not a tragedy, but I think that will be very sad if we forget and if the small stories of individuals get lost over time.
The birthday boy not sure he's worth all the fuss. Mark Burrows, 9 News.
In just 3 minutes, the gender divide in heart attacks tonight, why women and men fare so differently, and how scientists are using this world-first discovery to reduce the risks. That's moments away. But first, Gary is back to check the weather. Gaz, we've had a pretty good weekend.
Oh, we certainly have, Jono. Very comfortable temperatures as well. Most of the showers we've had have been overnight. The top drop overnight, 29 millimetres recorded at Redcliffe. A little bit of rain in the outlook this week. Right now, though, 25 degrees in the city. Your full forecast up next.
The unmissable first commitment ceremony.
She goes, you know what? You just sucked the life out of me.
Stay or leave. Next.
He may not look like much of a detective, but he always gets the job done. Death in Paradise, tonight 7:30 on 9Gem.
The new Hilux comes with Toyota Safety Sensor Standard with features like pre-collision alert and brake assist, so you can awaken your unbreakable safely. The safe new Hilux. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
At Coles, we're helping lower the cost of easy dinners with Coles RSPCA-approved chicken drumsticks, down to $4 a kilo. Perfect with a delicious Coles Kitchen Salad Kit. 2 packs for just $8. Coles, value the Australian way.
Get the green light with Tab's venue mode. Enjoy exclusive markets and offers that bring your local to life every time you walk through the door. Download the Tab app to make a date with your local. Tab, long may we play.
I had twins.
I started a new job.
I found my dream car.
I adopted a dog.
I took over the family business.
I finally asked her out.
I broke another phone.
We bought an apartment!
My brother got out. I got my tattoo.
I said goodbye to my best friend.
What's this?
Authentic street food. Dig in. Uh-oh, party's over, folks.
With added germ kill, Mortein Power Guard's all-in-one spray eliminates insects and 99.9% of the germs they carry.
That is beautiful!
Want the latest sport, drama, and Netflix? Too easy. The world's greatest sports and entertainment is on sale now. All in one place. Easy. Search Foxtel.
Through every adversity,
The state is now a disaster zone.
through every rebuild,
Packing up, just getting life back on track.
through every recovery, we've been there.
On Queensland sunshine.
How you going? That's looking good, isn't it?
Oh, it's beautiful.
With you through every storm. That's the Suncorp spirit.
This weather report brought to you by Suncorp Storm Score. Register and start preparing today. That's the Suncorp spirit.
Cardiovascular disease is the leading cause of death globally, but now researchers have identified the key genes that contribute to heart attacks in women and men aren't the same. The groundbreaking study will now help drive gender-specific treatments.
As a cardiac nurse with a family history of heart disease, Jill knew the warning signs. Fit and healthy, she was knocked back repeatedly for more in-depth tests. When she insisted, the results came as a shock.
When I awoke, he said, well, you had a 90% blockage to
one of your major arteries.
A new study with the help of the Victor Chang Cardiac Research Institute will change the way heart attacks in women are managed. The research, spanning 15 years and 3 continents, compared hundreds of male and female heart disease patients. Scientists were able to pinpoint major molecular and genetic differences between the two sexes. The team discovered in women the critical genes were cells in the walls of the arteries and smooth muscle, while in men it was linked to the immune system.
The ultimate goal is to prevent people having heart attacks in the first place. And so this breakthrough actually allows us to understand the fundamental mechanisms, what causes heart attacks.
The medical profession has long known women experience different heart attack symptoms to men, with only a third of females suffering a crushing chest pain commonly seen in males. This knowledge, combined with the new genetic discovery, will help develop targeted therapies for men and women.
I think this is amazing because obviously now we know for sure there's a difference.
Vicky Jardim, 9 News.
Gary Yumbri has your full weather forecast now. Gaz, are we in for any rain at all this week?
Oh, we are, Jono. A bit of a mixed bag this week. Plenty of heat about. Temperatures will be a few degrees above average most days. That means plenty of humidity. And with that, showers. You could even throw in a few thunderstorms. So expect the odd shower here and there, but thunderstorms are likely sort of late afternoon, particularly for those western suburbs as we move throughout the week. We'll check that 7-day forecast in just a moment. Let's have a look at temperatures across southeast Queensland. Firstly today, and it was a warm one this afternoon, a few degrees above average, but the overnight low 16 degrees in Canungra and 18 in Bow Desert. But the max today, Gatton, 32 degrees. 30 in Ipswich and Bow Desert, 29 for Archerfield, 28 in the city, Caboolture and the Sunshine Coast, 27 in Redcliffe and 26 on the Goldie. A couple of light showers around Southport this morning with just 2 millimetres in the rain gauge. On the weather map, moisture levels increasing across our eastern states, and that'll cause some scattered showers and storms extending from the Northern Territory into Queensland and New South Wales, while a front and a trough across the south. That'll bring some cool showers to Victoria and also Tassie, while troughs will maintain heat over central Australia. For the capitals and our major centres, cloudy in Melbourne tomorrow with scattered showers. Sydney looking at a few showers and possible late storms. Showers and thunderstorms are likely in Darwin, and over the top end, sunny and 38 degrees on the way for Alice Springs. Queensland, possible showers for the north central coast, partly cloudy for the Capricornia. A little cloud about in the Wide Bay with a chance of a shower in the Burnett tomorrow. It'll be hot inland with thunderstorms possible around Longreach, thunderstorms likely through the Maranoa, and they could be severe tomorrow afternoon. Here in the southeast, our backyard, a partly cloudy Monday. There is a medium chance of showers from late morning, a possible thunderstorm, more so inland. The winds will be freshening out of the northeast. Overnight temperatures as low as 17 degrees for our inner suburbs. Daytime highs around the 30-degree mark. Moreton Bay, get out early tomorrow, boaties. The northeaster will pick up 10 to 15 knots by the afternoon. The sea's around the 1 metre mark. Brisbane, a partly cloudy day, just the chance of a shower. Don't expect too much in the gauge tomorrow. 22 overnight, maxing out at 30 degrees. Your 7-day outlook, partly cloudy and low 30s Tuesday and Wednesday. Chance of a shower, late storms Thursday and a few showers for your Friday. Ipswich, a very warm and humid week. Temperatures in the mid-30s. The chance of a shower and late storm Wednesday and again Thursday with a few showers across your Friday. For the Gold Coast, a warm week ahead. The chance of showers Wednesday, Thursday, increasing on Friday, and daytime temperatures around that 30-degree mark. For the Sunshine Coast, partly cloudy and warm for the week ahead. Showers increasing by Friday, so a little drier up on the Sunshine Coast, but also temperatures around that 30-degree mark. So for March, Jono, still some warm days over the next week.
Autumn hasn't really kicked in yet, has it, Gary? Thank you. Now, before we go, here's Tom Steinford with a very quick look at what's coming up on tonight's 60 Minutes.
Thanks, Jono. Tonight...
Where did the money go? Where did the money go?
The 60 Minutes special investigation.
He believed everything she told him. He was set up.
Con woman Melissa Caddick's biggest secret revealed.
Someone must have had an idea that everything wasn't kosher.
The startling twist.
Absolutely blowing me away.
At the end of the money trail.
Think there'll be any justice now?
That's tonight after Married. Back to you, Jono.
Tom, thank you. And that is 9 News Queensland this Sunday. Thanks for your company. Andrew and Melissa return for you tomorrow. I'm Jonathan Uptin. From all of us here, good night.